got some leftovers.
Okay, well maybe she's having a baby whenever it's supposed to be.
I will report
My attendance. Huh?
I will report your visa.
Okay, that'd be great. So what are they gonna do with all the rocks?
I thought they were for cemetery visitation, to take them to the cemetery.
Yeah, but they said.
I don't know if these know what's going on.
The one talking to Jack.
And she had a daughter.
She has a son.
I believe so.
I wonder if anybody will be here.
Well, you know, they'll be online. People will do online. I want you to look at something.
Yeah.
Do you see stars up there? Like
Yes.
silver stars?
Yes.
Okay.
But they don't, I don't know if they're stars. There's
There's something they painted.
something is
Up on the balcony above where that chair is.
right behind her.
I thought
Do you
that
see
was
something
reflections.
silver?
I thought that was reflections.
Maybe it is.
It's probably.
I saw it yesterday, and I thought it was just reflections of
I
the
saw
lights.
it. I saw it right over there. Even though you can't see it. That's crazy.
You should see what happened to my car. Did you go to, you went to David's last night, right? On my way over there, I had overshot Golden Hawk. And so I went up. I went up and made a U-turn back onto Wrestler. Okay? And I turned right into the closest lane to the curving out, you know, the block. This car comes so fast, a truck comes so barely down Wrestler so fast. I mean, it either hit. Came, I swear to you, this close. I mean, close enough to knock the mirror off of my car. And sideswipe. I mean, not real hard.
And he stops.
No, of course not. So I've been dealing with that. My mirror's just hanging there. Thankfully, USAA. Yeah, and thankfully my front light is correct.
We had USAA forever.
Yeah,
Anyway, 5 years ago, they just decided.
they kicked me out once too.
They said Bill had too many accidents.
Yeah, see, I had too many.
Even though they weren't all his fault.
Yeah. See, I had too many claims and they weren't my fault either, but they threw me out.
And
How long were you?
I'm still out. I mean, I haven't asked about that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, they were.
But I have still have a bank account. And every time I call them, you thought about having insurance?
You should say, thought about it and went
I said,
and got it elsewhere.
we used to, but we got kicked out.
Yeah.
You're student. You sure? You don't have some... Okay.
Just keep it short.
I can't, it's too safe.
You don't know. You want me to go through and stretch some things out? People don't know.
Oh.
I'm never going to forgive her.
What'd she do?
Some kind of law school. Just like started to fall.
Is that why? Because I watched you. I saw you read.
So it was a mess.
Wasn't it gorgeous? And I'll tell you. Well, and you know what? The cantor did so beautiful. That night and yesterday. She really did. Yeah, she really did. I didn't like it as much. She didn't. Have one?
I have mine. I have a big one.
Oh, good.
Thank you.
Bim bam.
Just go ahead and start when you're ready.
Oh.
I don't trust it.
Bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam, bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat 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 shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Bim, bam, bim, 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 bam. Bim, 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 bam. Bim, bam, bim, 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 bam. Bim, 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 bam.
Shabbat Shalom and good evening. Shabbat Shalom and good evening. I feel like I've seen most of you recently, but it is good to see you again. Also, I do want to acknowledge our slightly delayed start to this evening's service. It was not on purpose, and you'll understand what I mean when I offer the stories I plan to offer later in the service. We began Shabbat by lighting candles. Candles represent our hopes and our dreams. Candles represent our expectation that Shabbat represent peace and perfection, the kind of peace and perfection we hope will take up every single day of every week of our lives. We turn to pages 2 and 3 as we welcome forward Bonnie Colton, escorted by Ann Spear. And as they come forward, I invite you to join with me as we read from the top of page 3. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we by our lives give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light. Please rise.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotanu, v'tzivanu le'adlik ner shel Shabbat.
We read together at the bottom of page 9 while we remain standing. Bottom of page 9. We offer thanks, O God, for this Shabbat which unites us in faith and hope, for Shabbat holiness which inspires sacred living, for Shabbat memories glowing even in darkness, for Shabbat peace born of friendship and love. We offer thanks and blessing, O God. Turning to page 146. Page 146, we offer words which declare our readiness to praise God, the Baruch Hu.
La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Barehu et Adonai, Baruch Adonai Hamevorach Hamevorach Leolam Vaed Hamevorach Hamevorach Leolam Vaed.
Please join with me in Hebrew. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chokhmah poteach sha'arim, uvidvuna mishaneh itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umesader et hakochavim, b'mishmarotehem barakia kirtzono, borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or, uma'avir yom umevi laila, uma'avdil bein yom uvein laila, Adonai tzavaot shemo, El chai v'kayam, tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. Responsively on page 148. In each age we receive and transmit Torah. At each moment we are addressed by the world. In each age we were challenged by our ancient teaching. At each moment we stand face to face with truth. In each age we add our wisdom to that which has gone before. At each moment the knowing heart is filled with wonder. In each age the children of Torah become its builders and seek to set the world firm on a foundation of truth. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kivod Malhuto Leolam Vaed.
You may be seated as we continue on page 150.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levacha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol meodecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anohi mesevecha hayom al levavecha Vishinantam levaneha vidibartam baham beshivtaha vetecha uvlechtaha vaderech uvshochbaha kumecha ukshartam liod al yodeha vehayu letotafot ben eneha ukatavtam al mezuzot beteha uvisharecha Leman tizkeru vasitem et kol mitzvotai viditem kidoshim lelohechem Ani Adonai Elohehem asher hotzitetem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lahem lelohim Ani Adonai Elohehem.
We read responsively, page 151. We worship the power that unites the universe, a promise of harmony for all. Yet that oneness eludes our grasp as imperfection and evil abound. Before our eyes there is a vision of perfection, order, and goodness. There is evil enough to break the heart, and there is good enough to exalt the soul. When will redemption come? When we grant everyone what we claim for ourselves. Long ago we escaped the tyranny of Egypt. Our people saw the power of the Most High. We learned God's presence redeems time and event, so we celebrate this power that makes for freedom. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar ba'kodesh, no ra tehilot oseh feleh. Who is like you, O God? among the gods that are worshipped. Who is like you, majestic in holiness, awesome in splendor, working wonders. Your children witnessed your sovereignty, the sea splitting before Moses and Miriam. This is our God, they cried. Adonai will reign forever and ever. Thus it is said, Adonai redeemed Jacob from a hand stronger than his own. Praised are you, Adonai, for redeeming Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Ga'al Israel. As Shabbat begins, as the sun sets, we offer a prayer, praying for shelter, for peace, for strength and comfort through the night. Page 153, Hashkivenu.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leShalom, leShalom. V'hamidenu Malkeinu leHaim. Ufros aleinu Sukkot Shlomeha, Ufros aleinu Sukkot Shlomeha. Amen. Shelter us beneath thy wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us, God, wrong from right. Amen. Amen. Amen.
Our Amidah begins on page 155. If you are able to rise, please do so.
Adonai sefativta ufia kitehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elotei Avoteinu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Isaac, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rahel, Elohei Leah, El Hagadol Hagibur v'Hanorah, Elyon, Gomel Hasadim Tovim, Ve'konei Hakol, Ve'zoher Hasdei Avot v'Imahot, U'mevi Gulam Livnei Bneihem, Leman Shemo ve'Avad, Melech Oser u'Mashiach u'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mehayeh hakol atah Rav le'Hoshia, Morid atah, Mehakel ha'im ve'hesed, Mehayeh hakol be'rachamim rabim, so make no flin reo feholim, umatir asurim, umekaye me munato, lishene afar, michamo habal birurot, umidome melech memir, umekaye, umasli Yeshua, b'nei manatala yotakol, Baruch atah Adonai, mehaye hakol. Atah kidosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kodoshim b'hoyom le'asela. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh.
You may be seated. Page 160. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. We read together. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may we all live in such a way that this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh hashabbat. We take a moment for silent prayer and reflection. Yehiyu l'ratzon imrefi, may the words of our mouths be acceptable, O God. The words of page can be found on page 167.
When I close my eyes and open up my heart, I speak softly, silently to you. I pray from deep within my soul. You find me where I am. It's not hard to face myself with you. When I'm in your house, surrounded by your love, carried by your spirit, I am home. And when I'm on my way through the hours of every day, to you, my God, I pray, and I'm not alone. be acceptable, Adonai, Adonai.
I was struck by the words on the footnote of the page by Regina Jonas, the first woman ordained as rabbi that we know of in the world, just before the period of Nazi Germany, where she wrote, "Whoever dedicates their life to others must not only comfort with words, but through deeds." As we think about others, and our deeds for others and the needs of others who are struggling with illness of mind, body, or spirit, we recognize that our prayers for them are meant to inspire them to know that we are thinking of them and to give them that courage and that comfort. But they also remind us of our need, of our obligation to do things for them and to look for ways to be present for them with more than just our words. And so at this time in our service, as we pray for their healing, and the prayer can be found on page 253, we also acknowledge that our efforts for them are not meant to be limited just to the words, but that the words inspire us to action, to support, to help, to comfort. If you are thinking of somebody and with us online, I invite you to share the name of the people you are praying for, those in need of healing, in the chat. So offer these names on behalf of our community, and then invite those present to share additional names as well. We pray for healing for Donald Weinberg, Jim DeRoss, Lloyd Gerard, Dolores Spector, Adela Seaman, Perla Bott Esther, John Garcia, Louise Rice, Bob Krasny, Mila Holst, Emily Solnick. To those names we add
Larry Tillman.
We pray together in song, page 253.
Mi shebera avotenu mekor Avraham limotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mi sheberak imotenu mekor Avraham leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
I was told that my Yom Kippur sermons were so long that I don't need to give sermons anymore. I'll let you decide whether somebody actually said that to me or whether I just said that to myself. There's a strange tradition in Judaism. Let me back up for a second. So tonight I'm going to tell a couple stories. There's a strange tradition in Judaism of stories, of classic, of old folk tales that talk about the rabbi being late to services. And I found two of them as I was preparing for the holy days that I just wanted to share with you. They still are kind of striking me. And as I said, we didn't start late on purpose because I knew that we were going to tell these stories. It just so happened. So, in talking about the first story, Rabbi Bradley Shavit Artson points out how wonderful, how unusual that the Jewish tradition tells stories about the rabbi being late. In particular, this tradition of telling stories about rabbis being late to Yom Kippur services. And he says, what an amazing heritage that recounts the tale of a tzaddik, a righteous person, who thinks that doing a mitzvah, doing a good deed, is more important than being present on Yom Kippur. So the first story is about Rabbi Israel Cilantro. If you are a student of Musar, you know his name. He was one of the great Musar teachers and rabbis. And this is the story as retold by somebody who they claim, somebody whose grandmother claimed to have been there for the occasion when the first story actually happened. I'm not sure if that's true, but I'll put that out there. And this is how he tells the story. He says, as a child, I heard it from my mother, who was born in Cilantro and grew up with Rabbi Israel's children, Israel Cilantro's children. This incident took place there in Cilantro. People had congregated in the synagogue for Kol Nidre. They waited for the rabbi, but he did not appear. It was getting late, and they even got so desperate that they recited Kol Nidre without him. Then they sent out to look for him, but nobody could find him. He wasn't in his home. He wasn't on the streets. They didn't know where he was. And the crowd began to panic. Soon the service would be over, and the rabbi still hadn't arrived. But then abruptly he entered. He took his accustomed place, drew the tallis over his head, and began to pray. And everyone was astonished by his appearance. His coat was rumpled, his hair and beard full of down. After he finished his prayers, he recounted what had happened to him. On his way to the synagogue for Kol Nidre, he heard a child crying. He went in the house, and he saw an infant crying in its cradle, a bottle of milk just out of reach. The mother had prepared the bottle and gone off to the synagogue, expecting her 6-year-old daughter to give the baby its bottle, but the little girl had fallen asleep and didn't hear the baby crying. So Rabbi Cilantro fed the baby and put it to sleep. And when he was ready to leave, the little girl, the sister, awoke. And she begged him not to go because she was afraid to be alone. Reluctant to leave small children alone with low burning candles, the rabbi stayed until the mother returned from the synagogue. He rejoiced he had been given the opportunity to do a good deed at a time as sacred as Yom Kippur. His listeners were amazed. How could one miss the Yom Kippur service because of a child's crying? Rabbi scolded them. Do you not know, even in the case of potentially saving a life, Jews are permitted to violate even the most sacred ritual responsibilities? There's a slight alteration to this story that's also told. And some recount that eventually the mother realized that the service was going to be a whole lot longer than they expected because the rabbi was so delayed in showing up, that she thought, I'll just dash home really fast, check on my children, and let them know I'm going to be later than I thought. She walked into her house, and there was the rabbi, sitting and rocking the child. "Rabbi, what are you doing here?" she asked. "I heard the baby crying while I was rushing to shul. I came in to check. As I looked into the baby's face, I completely forgot what day it was and where I was meant to be." There's another story. Every year, the rabbi of Nemirov was late for Yom Kippur services. Every year, the people of the congregation would speculate about the reason. Maybe the rabbi goes to visit the sick before services, some said. Perhaps he prays alone for all of us before coming here to be with us. Still others of the congregation said maybe he does something we just can't understand. There were 2 precocious boys in the congregation, and they decided they would find out the truth about why the rabbi was always late. So the night before Yom Kippur, they sneaked into the rabbi's house and hid under his bed. They watched and waited as the rabbi got into bed and snored throughout the night. While it was still dark, the boys looked on as the rabbi woke up, went to the closet, put on clothes that they had never seen him wear: heavy boots, overalls, a thick wool jacket, a peasant hat. Once he was fully dressed, the rabbi took a long rope and slung it over his shoulder, grabbed an axe from the closet, and walked out of the house. The 2 boys looked at each other in amazement and decided to follow the rabbi to see where he went, dressed in such an unusual manner for a rabbi. As the rabbi walked through the streets of the village lit only by the light of the moon, the boys took great pains to make sure the rabbi couldn't see them. They watched as he entered the forest, took the rope, put it down on the ground, and chopped down some trees with the axe. After chopping a few trees, the rabbi used the axe to cut the trunk and branches into small pieces. Then he took the rope and tied the pieces of wood into a neat bundle, which he hoisted over his shoulder. He left the forest while the boys, still unseen, followed behind. The rabbi walked a distance and came to a small, dilapidated cottage. The boys were silent as the rabbi knocked on the door. They heard a faint voice from inside the cottage. "Who's there?" asked the voice. It sounded like an elderly woman. "It is me, Vassal, the wood chopper," the rabbi replied. "I have wood for you on this very cold morning." "Please go away. I have no money to give you for wood," the old woman said. The boys looked on as the rabbi opened the door. "Don't worry about the money," he said to the woman. He went to the stove, placed the wood in it, and lit a fire. "Now you'll be warm on this cold day," he said. Without another word, the rabbi left the cottage. The boys looked at each other and followed the rabbi as he quickly returned home, changed into his rabbi clothes, and made his way to the synagogue for Yom Kippur services. Once again, the people questioned, why is the rabbi always late for Yom Kippur? Where does he go? What does he do before services? The boys listened to the speculation. Maybe the rabbi goes to the hospital to visit the sick. Maybe the rabbi takes an especially long time washing and dressing for Yom Kippur. Maybe the rabbi goes to heaven before coming to pray with us. The 2 boys listened, and together they responded, no, the rabbi does not go to heaven before services. He goes even higher. To that story, Rabbi David Greenberg points out that the highest calling of our religion is to live with open eyes and an open heart, realizing that we are needed by God to reach out to others, particularly the poor and the needy, to soften some of the pain, the loneliness, and anguish in our world. This story reminds us that we are indeed our brothers, our sisters' keeper. I was not busy doing anything of the sort before services, Yom Kippur evening or morning. But I think that these stories really tell us a lot about what it means to be Jewish and where our priorities really should be. even on a day like Yom Kippur. And as we go forth from Yom Kippur into this new year that we have begun, I hope that we can all find little ways, small and large, to have a better impact on our world and on the people around us, even if it means we have to stop thinking about what our needs, ritual and otherwise, might be, and to put others first once in a while. As Shabbat continues this evening, as we celebrate the sweetness and joy that Shabbat is meant to represent, the way that we can have an impact on our world to bring about Shabbat into everyday life, we turn to page 5 to lift up and celebrate the symbol of joy, the sweetness of the wine. I welcome forward Luann Francis as we turn to page 5, first to read, and then we'll sing.
You don't want me to sing, do you?
We'll all sing together, but just you can come to this one here.
Where, over here? Okay. Page 5, okay.
Just the inheritance.
Okay. Okay. Praise to you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who finding favor with us, sanctified us with mitzvot. In love and favor, you made the holy Shabbat our heritage, as a reminder of the work of creation. As first among our sacred days, it recalls the exodus from Egypt. You chose us and set us apart from the peoples. In love and favor, you have given us your holy Shabbat as an inheritance.
Thank you. We sing together, please rise.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav b'rasavanu, b'shavat kodsho, be'ahavat uvratzon hinhilanu, zikaron lamase bereshit, ki hu yom tehila lemikraye kodesh, ze lisiat Mitzrayim, kivanu b'hartam, Beotanu kidasha mikol hamim beshat kodsheha be'avaru v'ratzon inhaltanu Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh Hashabbat. Amen.
You get to do the honor. Yay. L'chaim. Page 282, we remain standing, Aleinu L'Shabeach.
Aleinu L'Shabeach Ladon HaKol, לתת גדולה יוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו קריאי ארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו כעולמונם. ואנחנו קוראים פעמים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי אלוהים הקדוש ברוך הוא ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו
may be seated. Page 289. We reflect on the blessing of loved ones gone. In nature's ebb and flow, God's eternal law abides. When tears dim our vision or grief clouds our understanding, we often lose sight of God's eternal plan. Yet we know that growth and decay, life and death all reveal a divine purpose. God, who is our support in the struggles of life, is also our hope in death. We have set God before us and shall not despair. In God's hands are the souls of all the living and the spirits of all flesh. Under God's protection we abide, and by God's love are we comforted. O life of our life, soul of our soul, cause your light to shine into our hearts and fill our spirits with abiding trust in you. If you are with us online, I invite you to share the names of those you are remembering this Shabbos in the chat. If you are with us and able to rise when you hear the name of a loved one, I invite you to do so. We mourn the recent death of Jules Pouchette, Mark Levin, Elsa Smith. This anniversary week of their passing, we observe yahrzeit for Miriam Beck, Barbara Feinberg-Beckoff, Minette Blecker, Sydney Borshaw, Mildred Brenner, Marie Broghammer, Charlotte Brown, Vernon Carvajal, Burton Cohen, Martin Colton, Jerome Joseph Dawson, Louis Akov, Sidney Gage, Richard Given, Paul Goodman, Ruth Gray, Bob Griffin, Toby Diane Jenkins, Abraham S. Kahn, Ida P. Kahn, Regina Kellen, Lydia Koshaleva, Ephraim Krupp, M. Bernhard Krupp, June Lieberman, Maurice Metrikin, Leo Montes, Larry Oppenheimer, Charles Romanowski, Richard Robinson, Sarah Roof, Oscar Ryback, Regina Sanders, Stephen Sawi, Paul Lyle Sheeman, Harriet Ray Simon, Mordechai I. Soloff, Herbert Trackman, Ann Zaltz. Are there any names to add? We offer Mourners Kaddish, which can be found on page 294, as we stand together, one communal family in support of one another. Yitz Gadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah, Be'alma Divra Chirutei v'yamlich Malchutei, B'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala uv'izman kari v'imru Amen. Yehei Shemei Rabbah mevarach le'alam u'lamei almayah. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal Shemei d'kudusha b'richu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, Hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Zichronam livracha, may their memories be a blessing and inspire us to life, as together we say, Amen.
Amen.
You may be seated.
Oh, say shalom bivromav. Huya say shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Israel. Ve'imru, amen.
This evening, I've been joined on the bima by past President Marcia Dahlberg, by board member Luann Prancis. We've been grateful to have Elvira with us, helping us to so beautifully sing along with Tina Wolf, one of our shlichim, who has led us in prayer, and who also this evening serves as a board member as well. So we turn it over to you, Tina, for announcements.
Not only did I have the privilege of singing in prayer, I have the privilege of serving as a representative of the president of the congregation. So I get to give the announcements, which may be longer than the sermon, I'm noticing. So they may be brief, a little bit briefer than he might have given them. But we do want to thank the streaming sponsors, Vladek Krenovich and Olga Kosheleva in memory of Lydia Kosheleva, Bonnie Colton in memory of Marty Colton, Patricia Sawe in memory of Stephen Sawe, Stephen Feinberg and Susan Foote in memory of Barbara Feinberg-Beckoff, the Gladstein family in memory of Regina Ressi-Kellen and Emil Ressil, Susie Pickens Owens, Evelyn Fox, Sam Simon, and Marion Garmel in memory of Harriet Ray Simon. And our Kaddish sponsors, Stephen Feinberg and Susan Foote in memory of Barbara Feinberg-Beckoff, the Gladstein family in memory of Regina Ressil-Kellen and Emil Ressil, Carol K. Friedman in memory of Ephraim Krupp. I think everybody knows tomorrow morning we have Torah study at 9:30, both in person finally, yes, as well as online. Many of you know that there will be religious school on Sunday at 9:30 as well. We do have Shabbat morning services tomorrow, and that will be a festive occasion because it will be the bat mitzvah of Alexis Siegel. So you may want to join us for that special occasion. We are looking at a number of events. We have the future of music at Temple to be discussed on Sunday afternoon at 2 o'clock. Something dear and near to our hearts is the music that we have here. Erev Sukkot service is at 6:15 on Monday. Tuesday, we will have the Sukkot Festival morning service at 10:30. Kabbalat Shabbat Sukkot service will be Friday at 6:15, and there is a box dinner available for after that service. I'm sure the details are in the email. You will get them. We'll celebrate Sukkot with sushi in the sukkah on Saturday, September 25th at 6 to 8. These are events. The Havurah event will be hosted by Nathan and Letty Stevens. So the Baby Boomer event will be hosted by Alan and Laurie Gaiman. So these are events coming up. Not to forget, in October, there will be a retreat in the mountains at Cloudcroft. And I think those are the announcements for this week. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. I'll just make notes. They're not in the announcements, but I'll just make mention for the Sukkot evening and Sukkot morning services. We do plan to have those outside on the front patio in front of the main doors. So feel free to dress comfortably for those. We'll conclude our service in celebration of this beautiful day, a day beautiful. Any day is beautiful whenever we're together, but all the more so beautiful on Shabbat. The very bottom of page 330, Ma Yafeh Hayom. If you are able to rise, please do.
Ma Yafeh Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. 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 Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Ma Yafeh Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Ma Yafeh Hayom, Shabbat Shalom.
May this Shabbat, may every Shabbat, be a day of rest, of joy, and of peace. Shabbat Shalom. Please join us for Kaddish and Motzi just outside the front doors. You turned off the microphone so I could sing. Oh, no.